Oscar goes for the best audience, too.
Yes. They have so much great energy. They have such great energy.
Yes. I think it's our Olympians there in the audience are setting the tone.
They're ready. They're ready. Welcome to the show physically this time. Last time was
Kelly.
Zoom.
I know.
I'm such a big fan.
Well,
Thank you
you're really
for coming.
kind. You look wonderful.
Thank
and it's really a treat to be here.
Thank you. I love our new New York studio. I've had your wife a few times already. I'm obsessed with your wife. She probably knows this by now. Yeah, so your whole family is welcome. Are you a big fan of the Olympics? Do you watch?
I am. I wasn't such a big fan. We did Franklin in Paris in 2022 when they were still in the middle of trying to get it all together in time for the Franklin. So we were constantly went our way around the city to get around the action. But you're going to have a great time. Everybody's going over, and the athletes. It's a spectacular event. They're going to be all over France, you know, using all sorts of locations everywhere.
I know they've shown me like where they're picking all these amazing places.
Yeah, you're doing the openings, right?
Yes,
yeah, you're going to have a lot of fun. Your team has been pushing me for names of restaurants that I'll be giving to you.
I really want to know because I feel like I don't pick well. So I'm
what
always.
Made you start that? What
I don't know. I'm the person in the group that I'm like, I'll pay if you plan. Because whenever I plan, it's poorly done. Yeah.
Oh, that's we'll definitely come up with a couple that are walking distance from the hotel.
That's what I love about Paris too. That's what I love about living here. You can walk everywhere.
Yeah.
I want to talk about this before we do this because you were saying you shot Franklin in Paris.
Yeah.
And you were on a boat. Like your dressing room was on a boat on the Seine, right?
That was for one scene. I mean, we would move around all over. I mean, the show, you know, takes place in the 18th century, 1776, year of our revolution and the Declaration of Independence. And so it's the 7 or 8 years that Franklin was in Paris trying to get the support of the French, Louis XVI, the monarchy, to support this brand new democracy because we were not in good shape. You know, the war with Britain was going on, with England was going on. We were a ragtag army. We desperately needed the help of like France. And so the show is about me going over there and having never really been a diplomat before, but trying to figure out how to wend my way through the politics up to Louis XVI to get their support, which we did. And the beauty of what you learn about something sometimes when you do these shows is if it was not for France, we would not have America. That's the truth. It was their ships, their money and their support that their backing that got us through that.
Is that your real hair in Franklin? Is it partly yours?
Well, yeah.
You grew it out.
It's just predominantly my hair. I was a hippie, you know. And so it was my hair length. We added a little bit in the back, but it was all there. Yeah, that was one of the big issues. It's like when you look at that $100 bill and say, oh yeah, he looks just like me. You know, how many work this out? And then you start fooling around with your makeup and everything. And it takes so then that's the producing half of me that comes on, you know, because I look and I say, okay, it's 50 minutes from the hotel to the studio. It's going to be 2.5 hours of makeup, 45 minutes to take it off and all that. So we try to find ways to kind of streamline it, you know, get a little more of Mikey's Pull'em out there, you know.
Oh my God! If I was producing, I'd be like, "Oh, we only need 30 minutes hair and makeup." I'd cut that. My butt hurts. I fell off a horse like a while back, so my it's the 2.5 hours of sitting in a chair that bothers me most. It's your butt hurts. Just
sitting in a chair doing makeup for 2 hours makes me crazy.
It was too much information, probably me talking about my butt. It was too much. I felt it as it exited my mouth. You were like, you know, I'm not going to step in that, ma'am.
Get a cushion. Put a cushion on you.
I know. Let's wait. My cushion's gone. So did you always know that you wanted to act? Because obviously it's in your family. Your mother's on stage. We all know your dad. But did you always want to do it?
No.
Yeah.
I think probably it's just a natural resentment for kids because your father, especially in those days, there wasn't much else. My father's doing 5 movies a year. You never saw them. My mother's an actress. So I think just the fact that they were sort of taken away from you may have been the reason. But I went, you know, all the way into college, you know, kind of undeclared. And I grew up back east, but then ended up going to college in California, University of California, Santa Barbara in the 1960s.
Oh, it's beautiful there.
It's beautiful there. And I was introduced to hippiedom. And off we go. You know, and off we went.
That's why you were undeclared.
That was why I was undeclared. So it happened. So my third year, they finally called me into the office and said, "You got to declare a major." I said, "What?" I said, you can't keep taking, of course you got to get a major. I said, I don't know, man, I don't know. So that's why I said, well, I'll take theater, because I thought I knew a little bit about it. You know, my mom was in the theater back east. I was an actor, and that's how I started. And then was terrible. I was not good, and I had a terrible, I had a wastebasket before I'd go on stage where I'd get sick in.
Oh, like stage fright.
I had terrible stage fright. Terrible stage.
Oh, wow. Why did you keep... I never understand this, because people keep doing it. If I had stage fright like that, I just wouldn't do it.
It was somehow a challenge. I agree with you. I know it was just like, I'm going to get over this. I'm going to get over this. But it took a long time. But I remember my first production in school was a Shakespeare, Much Ado About Nothing, and I had a messenger speech, and my entrance was coming down the aisle of the theater. And sure enough, my father came to see my first show, and sure enough, I had to stop right by his seat. And then I have to deliver a messenger speech.
That's
so they
intimidating.
sort of told me, they told me how to stand and this and that. I went, my lord. And then I took a deep breath. Somebody kill us at what? And I bowed and went out. The audience said, what did he say? What did he say? I don't know. And Dad came back after the show, and he said, Michael, you were terrible.
Honest parenting?
Honest parenting. So that was the start, and I just worked at it, grinded away, but by the time I graduated and everything, I thought I did okay. And
it's so crazy to me to hear as a fan, because I can't imagine you not being good. You're in everything I love.
Well,
like, that's real. Like, you're and over so many decades. Like, it's so... I think that's actually a good lesson for a lot of people to hear if it's a dream of theirs, but they don't feel like they're killing it yet. You can still, like, keep applying yourself.
You can. I had the big mistake of one person telling me early on in my career, the camera can always tell when you're lying.
Oh.
Ooh.
Challenge accepted.
Well, exactly, but is it lying? So I had this sort of method period for a while, where I was just tearing myself down, trying to be real, and then Fatal Attraction came along. And I remember looking at the script, okay, I studied this and everything. So this character lives in New York. I said, well, I live in New York. This character's a lawyer. Well, I could be a lawyer. This character's an adulterer. And then I realized, well, wait a minute.
I bet you after doing that film, though, you thought twice about committing adultery.
So there's a whole lot of
a whole
people.
lot of men were like, wait a minute.
No, I remember the picture. We took the picture to France, and they said, well, this is not going to be a success here, because we all have mistresses.
It's a real thing there.
They're saying on the French. It went through the roof. Every French wife brought their husband, and I said, sit right here.
And their partner on the other side.
Exactly.
Michael's old roommate, Danny DeVito, was actually here and had this to say about the first time that they met.
Middle of the day, it was really hot. Somebody said, well, who wants to go on a beer run? So I immediately raised my hand. Michael raised his hand. Yeah, I'll go, we'll go. And he had a motorcycle. So I said, well, we'll go. You'll ride, and I'll sit on the back. And we took 5 steps away from everybody else, and we both had hair. It was the hippie days, right? It was a hippie. We had hair down in here, right? And first thing he said to me, says, you smoke pot? And I said, yeah. So the beer didn't show up for 2 hours.
It took a minute. Is that how you remember it?
No, I don't remember that. I just got 2 stories mixed up. First time we met, we were standing at the summer theater we were both at. It was on the Long Island Sound, and I was standing looking out at the Long Island Sound. The foghorns were gleaming, and this guy comes up, and Danny was at the American Academy, and he was up there doing a show. This guy walks up to me, and I'm looking at him, looks at me. He says, hi, how are you? Hi. And I'm looking there, there's a moment. And he looks to me again, I look at high, and he says to me, you get high? I said, yeah, okay. I said, but I like his story better.
Both are pretty great, just random ask. You get high? All right, we're cool. That's amazing. Michael has had so many memorable roles, from Romancing the Stone to his current role in Franklin, which you can see on Apple TV+, everybody. But we know we love those roles, but what were those moments like for Michael himself? So it's time to find out with a list of superlatives from Michael's career and life. This is...
Most he's best. I never would have guessed.
You scared the crap out of him. Okay, so we're gonna not kill you, and also we're gonna ask Michael about the most memorable moments, and he'll share which films or characters come to mind. So we're gonna start with the scariest scene to shoot. What's the scariest scene?
Oh, well, the streets of San Francisco, my first day at work with Carl Malden. First day, I'm just nervous. Thank you. We're getting later in the day, and also I hear on the door, and it's the assistant director. Come on, we got to go. The light's going quickly. Michael, we just need you getting in the car. Carl, you put the gumball up on the car, and you go around the top of Telegraph Hill and down the hill. It's just that, no dialogue or anything. So I pride myself on being a pretty good driver. I did all this stuff, but I didn't try to check things out. So we get there in the car. I said, okay, action. I go around the corner, I make the thing, I make the turn, and I reach the end, the top of the hill, and all I can say is I had to go airborne.
No.
And I had enough time to turn to Carl, and he looked at me and was airborne, and then finally, and the wheels were straight. Thank God. We land. Carl gets out of the car screaming, and I'm sure I've lost my first day in the job, and I'm going to be fired. And he said, "That's not driving. That's theatrical driving." And I think, oh, it's all over. He goes, all right, I'm going back to my trailer and change my underwear.
Oh my God, that would freak me out. Yeah. That's only happened to me on a four-wheeler once, and I was coming down, it was a little steeper than Mama anticipated. Okay, so next, which of your characters was most like you think?
I don't want to admit it, but probably that Oliver, that guy in the War of the Roses.
He's kind of a dick.
Yeah, in a tight ass, you know.
But charming, you do love him. But oh my God, that movie's so funny. Yeah. You think you're most like that character?
Well, I'm saying that now better than saying I'm the guy in Fatal Attraction. You know?
I'll own that one,
okay,
but not the other one. Okay. Okay. So next, line people most often yell at you.
Greed is good.
Wow. You played some.
I know. And they thought I was the hero. I was a bad guy. No.
Yeah. I think you've done a really good job when you make the bad guy seem great.
That's what I like to do.
Well done.
Thank you.
Well done, you. Okay, so worst thing about living with Danny DeVito, other than him lying and making up a story. Just kidding.
He's such a slob.
Oh, he is?
He's such a slob.
Are you a neat person?
I like to be, I take that character from Owen that I liked, the one.
Yeah, Oliver, yeah.
Oliver.
Yeah.
So, yeah, he's messy. And the Italian stuff can only go so far. You know what I mean? I like Italian food and everything, but it's around the clock for breakfast. It's not.
Man, and a messy roommate, oh, man, I had one of those. Yeah. I'd find food in their room, from a week prior.
We were in a one-room apartment.
No.
Yeah.
I say no to that. Michael's new show is Franklin. You can check it out on Apple TV+.